God will give you victory. Victory is a powerful word. It symbolizes triumph, success, and overcoming challenges. In life, we often face struggles that feel like battles, whether it's dealing with fears, doubts, personal flaws, or even spiritual challenges. But in the Bible, we're promised a unique type of victory. First book of Corinthians chapter 15 verse 57 says, "But thank God, He gives us victory over sin and death through our Lord Jesus Christ." This verse assures us that through Jesus, God grants us ultimate victory over all things that threaten our spiritual well-being. Understanding victory over sin and death. Victory over sin and death might sound like a grand concept, but what does it mean for us? Sin represents anything that separates us from God, things like lying, hatred, jealousy, or greed. These actions lead to negative consequences, not only in this life but also beyond it, affecting our souls and keeping us distanced from God's perfect love and guidance. Death, in this context, represents spiritual separation from God, which is often seen as the ultimate defeat. God's promise through Jesus Christ is that these barriers can be removed. When Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead, He broke the chains of sin and death for all who believe in Him. This means that, as believers, we no longer have to be slaves to these forces. It's as if someone has cut the chains that were holding us down, freeing us to live a life filled with hope and purpose. Jesus, the ultimate champion. Imagine a boxing match. On the one hand, we have sin and death, powerful opponents with years of experience in defeating people. On the other side stands Jesus, who may appear humble and gentle, but has a strength beyond human understanding. Jesus steps into the ring, takes on the full force of sin and death, and emerges victorious. Through His death and resurrection, Jesus secured this victory, not just for Himself but for all who believe in Him. Picture yourself as part of His team. His victory is now shared with you. When God looks at you, He sees someone on the winning side, someone who is no longer bound by past mistakes or fears of spiritual defeat. This is the gift of grace, an undeserved favor that God extends freely to those who trust in Him. Living with a victorious mindset. Now that we know Jesus has won the battle for us, how do we live in that victory daily? Imagine you've just been given the fastest car in the world, one that can outrun any other vehicle on the road. However, if you don't trust it, you might drive cautiously or even avoid using it to its full potential. Likewise, knowing that Jesus has already secured our victory, we need to live confidently, with faith that we can overcome any challenge or temptation that comes our way. Romans 8 verse 37 reminds us, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." This means that our confidence doesn't rest in our own strength but in the strength of the one who has already conquered sin and death. With this mindset, we approach life differently, seeing each challenge not as a threat but as an opportunity to rely on God's strength and experience His power in our lives. Breaking the chains of addiction. Consider someone struggling with addiction. To them, breaking free might feel impossible, as if they're bound by invisible chains. However, when they come to believe in the victory Jesus offers, they're no longer fighting alone. With God's help, they gain access to a strength beyond their own, giving them the courage to take steps toward freedom. Through prayer, support from others, and faith in God's promises, they can break free from the cycle of addiction, living a victorious life that they once thought was out of reach. Gratitude for the victory. Lastly, this victory inspires gratitude. First book of Corinthians chapter 15 verse 57 starts with, "But thank God." Recognizing that our victory is a gift leads us to live with a thankful heart. Gratitude transforms our perspective, helping us focus on God's goodness rather than our struggles. As you go through life's challenges, remember that the victory over sin and death is already yours through Jesus Christ. Just like in a relay race where the last runner crosses the finish line and the whole team celebrates, Jesus has already crossed that line for us. We don't have to fight this battle alone. Instead, we live each day as victors, knowing that God is with us and that nothing can separate us from His love and victory. First book of Corinthians chapter 15 verse 57 reminds us that God's gift of victory isn't just about winning life's daily battles. It's about the ultimate triumph over anything that separates us from Him. Through Jesus, we are free to live a life filled with hope, courage, and gratitude.